such good music. So, anyway, funny story. Before recording this part, I was doing some practice commentaries until I got what I liked. And, little do I know, instead of hitting start record, I hit start streaming. And, that is completely and totally my fault. So, while recording this episode, I ended up streaming 20 minutes of Sonic 2 commentary. Oopsie. But welcome to another part of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Let's Play. My name's Braden, of course. We're going to be looking at two more zones in this particular part. We're going to be looking at Chemical Plant Zone, which I find is very overdone, and Aquatic Ruin Zone, one of my favorite stages in this game. Now, Chemical Plant Zone I find is overdone for the sake of it being in at least 4 games. It's in this game, it's in Sonic Pocket Adventure for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, it's in Sonic Generations, it's in Sonic Mania, and like 6 acts of it are in Sonic Forces. So, yeah. Needless to say, I'm not very enthused. Or, I'm not very enthusiastic, that's the word I'm looking for, about this particular zone. Because I find it overdone and kind of a bore nowadays. But in general, in Chemical Plant Zone, it is possible to outrun the screen. How do you do that? Well, Sonic's speed cap on his feet was actually removed, so that's kind of cool. Now, what do I mean by that? Sonic has a hard speed cap on his ball mode, I guess, in which Sonic can only go so fast when he's curled into a ball. His speed on his feet, however, is uncapped, so if you're going down a slope on foot, you're gonna go way faster than in a ball. So that's neat. But this is Special Stage 5. This is kind of a boring special stage, all things considered. On the plus side, it's colored like a carrot. So, that's neat. And probably why it's always made me hungry in the past. Even way back in 1997. But this special stage introduces rings on the top of the special stage, and that kind of sucks because you can fall off you're too early and end up not getting any rings. Or if you're too late, you can end up not getting any rings by completely missing the rings altogether. But when I was younger, I used to be able to follow the ring trails in this particular special stage perfectly. I can't do that anymore, and I don't know why. Age, I guess? I mean, I did countless practice playthroughs of this game beforehand, just like I did with Mega Man X. I did lots of practice playthroughs for that game. But I can't seem to collect all these... all the rings from one of these paths anymore, but... With that, that's Special Stage 5. So we have our yellow Chaos Emerald. Makes me think of a banana. Now, take my word for it. There's 5 Chaos Emeralds there. I know you can't see them, but there's 5. I'm sorry, Chemical Plant Zone has really good music. And I mean really good music. I've always been a fan of the Chemical Plant Zone music, but never a fan of the stage. I mean, it's a good stage, don't get me wrong, it's just not the best one in Sonic 2. In my honest opinion, I'm gonna sound like a contrarian here, but Mystic Cave Zone is one of my favorites in this game. I love Mystic Cave Zone. I also like Casino Night. Casino Night's really good, too. But this is our first instance of being underwater. Now... this is one part where you're most likely to encounter the drowning music. And drowning music is exactly what it was in Sonic 1. It's that sort of frantic countdown beeping. But with that, we're out of the water. I mean, it's not a very long stage, all things considered. Especially if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, this stage is really short. But our second Robotnik fight will drop that purple water we see below us on you. So in order to avoid it, just hold down, and the water will phase right through you, and you won't take any damage from it. But before the fight starts, you're going to want to jump and hold to the right, and you'll score 8 easy free hits in on Robotnik, beating the boss in a matter of seconds. Trust me, you didn't see anything. But with that, Chemical Plant Zone is done. Moving on, we're heading to one of my personal favorite stages in this game. Right up there with Mystic Cave Zone, Casino Night, we're going into Aquatic Ruin Zone, the actual water stage of the game. Now, Aquatic Ruin Zone may be the water stage of the game. However, if you know what you're doing, you will never actually enter the water. Like, never. But we're also introduced to a new badnik in this particular zone. We're introduced to Grounder. Yes, that Grounder from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. However, he was first introduced in this game, so this game's Grounder is way better because he doesn't talk. I didn't like Grounder's voice in the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. As much as I like a good chunk of the Sonic cartoons, the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't one of my favorites. And that's mainly because of some of the characters. Being the voices of Grounder, Scratch and Grounder, and then there was Coconuts. I didn't like Coconuts. But this is Special Stage 6, which I find is way easier than Special Stage 5. And I don't know why. Normally, I have a bad habit of being bad at the 6th special stage in a Sonic game, but this one, no, this is a real easy special stage, I find. And there is one instance in the third part of the special stage in which you're going to want to jump a little earlier than you anticipate in order to collect some rings, otherwise you're going to just sail right over them and miss like 15 rings, so, or 10 or whatever it is, or I know it's double digits, so you don't want to be missing rings in this particular special stage because that third part is kind of strict at 210 rings, so you're gonna want to be careful. I'm sorry, the music in this game is really good, and I mean really good. I love the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 soundtrack. Like, I love the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 soundtrack. I find it's way better than the original Sonic soundtrack. See, if you jump too late there, you're gonna sail right over the rings, and then you're gonna be sad, because you're missing, like, 10 or 12 rings. Which is why I said this stage is kinda strict. See, instead of having 230 rings, you'd have 220. But that is our 6th Chaos Emerald. We have one more to get, and we won't be getting that until Casino Night Zone. More on that later. But like I said, every 50,000 points is an extra life. So, getting extra lives in this game as opposed to the original Sonic the Hedgehog is way easier. Because you get points for doing almost everything in this game. The only thing you don't get points for is collecting rings. Everything else, yeah, you get points for. So that's something neat. But with that, we have Act 1 done. So, it is possible to beat that stage in under a minute, but that's beside the point. However, this is the particular act of Aquatic Ruin Zone in which it is most likely that you're going to end up underwater. However, if you just take the top path and not worry about heading anywhere under the top path, you'll never enter the water, like, at all. So, yeah. Now, this particular act is the one I want to touch on the underwater mechanics. The underwater mechanics in this game are exactly like they were in Sonic 1. If you're underwater too long, you'll hear the drowning music, and if you're underwater when the drowning counter hits 0, you die. Simple as that. But the spin dash also shows its true versatility in this particular stage, and I love the spin dash in this game. I love the spin dash in the Sonic series in general. Except, like, Shadow the Hedgehog, where it's borderline useless. But more on that when I get to the 3D games, but that won't be until after 3D Blast. Which I am going to play for the channel eventually. I don't know when, but eventually. But we are coming up on our next Dr. Robotnik fight here rather quick. So, the third Dr. Robotnik fight, if you just hang out on the right-hand side of the screen, like so, and ride this totem pole, you can get 8 free easy hits in on the Doctor, and you won't have to worry about that hammer because you're never going to be on the ground when it falls anyway. So yeah. Now what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to ride the arrows that those totem poles shoot, and then you jump up and hit the Doctor that way. But if you just stay on one of the totem poles, you'll easily, and I do mean easily, beat the Doctor with no problem. But with that, we beat Aquatic Ruin Zone. Moving on, next is Casino Night Zone. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and take care.